Howdy folks, it's CZ the Hunting Gear Guy, and this is the Bren 2 MS. Well, this is a converted one. This was actually at one point in time an 11-inch barreled one, but it was converted by Marstar to be an 18.5, and therefore in Canada, non-restricted. But it does look a little bit goofy because it's got this short handguard. Anyways, conversion was better than expected, so this rifle is very interesting. Here in Canada, our ARs got prohibited 3 years ago. I got a couple sitting on the ground over here. We can't go to the range or anything like that. Can't use them because the government said we can't. So instead we were looking at alternatives. This is one of them. We do have like AR 180Bs and like a whole bunch of those. They're not very durable. A lot of them break parts, and there we go. We're getting some of these. We were supposed to get a run of these with like a CZ made barrel to 18.5 inch. They weren't even supposed to be that expensive. I think I saw like $2,600, $2,800 Canadian. Those days are gone though, because there was this little Ukraine-Russia war, and they make these in 7.62 by 39, and they were too busy selling thousands of them to the Ukrainians instead of selling like 1,000 to Canada. So they're too busy to get to us. Anywho, that's the origin of the rifle. Let's kind of take a look at this thing. First, we'll just make sure it's unlocked and unloaded. Unlocked? Yeah, of course it's unlocked. It's unloaded. I show this because every year there are thousands of people that put rounds into their walls. And if you just do this simple thing before you start mucking around with your rifle, it's not going to happen. So make sure to check your rifles. Let's get to it. Now, because this is a conversion, I think, so this says made in Czech Republic on the side. You can see on the side there it says that. I'll just throw an overlay so you can see it. On the side here it says CZ USA, Kansas City, KS. So I think this was designed for the American market, which makes sense with the 11-inch barrel. And they would have had no stock on there. Here in Canada, our what's a rifle, what's a pistol is real weird. We have some LAR-15 pistols we got into the country, which were like an AR pistol, and they got designated as pistols. But then a lot of their other rifles that are pistols are in Canada, they just say, no, that's a rifle. That's just a short barreled rifle, which in Canada you can have, it's just restricted. Or you can put a long barrel rifle on, or long barrel on it, and all of a sudden it's non-restricted. So it's weird. Anyways, this is non-restricted. But here in Canada, because we can run the stock regardless of the barrel length, we do. So this is the CZ stock here. This is an extendable. It's got a little bit of a cheek piece here. It looks like there's a pin that you can drift out to maybe put a different size cheek piece on here. I thought the cheek piece was okay. What I don't like about these back slant cheek pieces, especially the ones that don't move, is that it can be hard to find like your correct cheek weld. And your cheek weld changes based on where your face is on the gun because it slopes down there. So I guess the advantage there is if you're, sitting, way too high and you need to go lower, you can just move your stock back and then it'll move your head back, and you'll have a lower cheek weld. But it also means that you may not be able to run the length of pull you want, because you might have to run the length of pull that gets you the correct cheek weld on the gun. So much of this rifle is very plasticky. Lots and lots of plastic. This whole butt piece is plastic. This whole lower is plastic. The trigger's plastic all over the place on this thing. But it doesn't feel like cheap plastic. It just feels plasticky. If you look at, the Armalite AR 180B, that had a plastic lower as well. This thing does. It doesn't feel cheap. It's CZ. It's not going to feel cheap, but it does feel budget friendly. It does feel budget. Like look at even like down here. You see those blocks there? That's what this goes into. So you're just holding that down. It snaps into one of those blocks, and that gives you, it's a nice solid lockup on the stock here. Just kind of inexpensively made. This is a folding stock. One of the problems with folding stocks is that they're frequently got a little bit of shake in them. There is very little wiggle on this stock. Very, very little. You're not going to notice it when using it. And the unlock is right there. I'm going to push that, turn it, and then you can just pop it up. Now it's going to lock onto the shell deflector. Has a hook on the bottom of it, as you can see right there, and that interfaces with the stock so that it grabs onto it and doesn't want to let go very easily. It can still be fired like this because the ejection port is clear. Just not a good idea to shoot it like that. To pull it out, we're just going to pull it down a little bit and then snap it open. Super easy to use there. In terms of controls on this thing, very good. So we got a little 45-degree ambidextrous safety there. We have a mag release on that side, and we have the ambi mag release on this side as well. So we've got ambi safety, ambi mag release, and then we have the bolt hold open right there. It's like a traditional ping pong paddle like you'd see on an AR. So you can pull the bolt back, push the bottom of that ping pong paddle, and it will hold the bolt open. Slap the top, and it will drop the bolt as well. One odder thing is that it's actually got controls inside the trigger guard here for doing the same thing. So you can press up and lock the bolt back, or you can press down and drop the bolt just with those controls there. Not great for a competition. This will get you DQ'd in a competition, but I suppose in a war it wouldn't matter as much. Just before I go too far, a couple of features kind of on the back here. We've got push button sling attach points at the back here. So if you wanted to run a single point sling, you could run one at the back. If you wanted to run a 2-point, you could run one at the back. And then on the front here, you have these mash hook rings here. So you can grab onto those with either an HK clip or a mash hook to grab onto the front side of the sling. I haven't looked at some of the other foreends, but some of the other foreends might have a push button cup on them as well. This one has M-lock slot there, and on the other side as well. So just a couple of M-lock slots. We've got this nice big rail all along the top here where we can attach whatever we want to. Side non-reciprocating charging handle. That also reciprocates sometimes. So what I mean by sometimes is, if I were to pull this back, it's actually locked into the bolt. And if I want to, I can use this as a forward assist to ram that round in. But as soon as that happens, as soon as it clicks up there, it's not grabbing onto the bolt. And every time I fire, this charging handle's not going to cycle. Kind of the best of both worlds. It makes for a little bit of an interesting disassembly, reassembly, but super interesting. And it's swappable. You can put it on the other side as well. So just like most everything on this rifle, it can be made for a right-hander or a left-hander. The ejection is one side only though. Now, truth be told, when these rifles came in, I was a little bit worried because this is supposed to have an 11-inch barrel on it. It's got a gas system from an 11-inch barrel gun on it. Yet we've got an 18.5-inch barrel. So what's going to happen if you were to do this on an AR, take like an 18-inch barrel and run like a carbine length gas system on it or something like that? It's going to be super overgassed. Those shells are going to be flying out there at Mach 2. It didn't happen on this rifle. I think that when they converted it, they must have drilled a smaller gas hole because it doesn't throw the brass hardly at all. It throws them like 1 meter, 2 meters to your side, which is about what I would want for a rifle like this. Keeping in mind that we have a couple different selectors here. So if I want to, I can switch this thing from 1, 2, or completely off. So we can turn the gas off, or 2 or 1. So 1's for like normal conditions, 2 is like the rifle's all gummed up and you need it to run right now, who cares? And then 3 is like turn the gas off for whatever reason you'd want to do that. But very easy to use. I thought it was going to be too much gas, but the conversions were good and it doesn't do that. So one of the first things I did with this rifle is take it to a 3-gun match. I'm going to roll some footage of that 3-gun match right now. Now, This is really stupid, but at that 3-gun match on this for this rifle fully converted, it's $3,700 and rising. I ran a $200, including mount optic from Cabela's. It was fine. It was all within 50 yards, and yeah, we ran fine. In terms of the like, it's so soft shooting. I did put a muzzle brake on this thing. This is one of the Spectre Ballistics muzzle brakes on here. They're pretty inexpensive and they're very effective, and I found it just cut all the recoil out of this thing. It was already soft shooting, but with that muzzle brake on there, oh, it was so soft shooting, so nice and soft. And the other thing that's really working for this rifle is the trigger pull is amazingly light. So not something you'd expect. Like, this is a combat rifle, right? But I guess it's CZ combat rifle, right? So let's just go ahead and pull that that trigger there and see what we get for a trigger pull. Hey, let's it's not 5 pounds. Safety was off. On. Safety was on. Okay, safety's off now. 2 pounds, 12 ounces. I found this thing right around 3 pounds. Some of the other reviews I was looking at online were like, oh, getting like 4 pounds and that kind of thing. It's light. It's a really nice light trigger. And it's 2-stage, so there's kind of like a first stage take up there with just a little bit of weight, and then you're just into a crisp stage after that. There's a reset. So a pretty long reset, but I was like going really fast with this because the trigger's so light and because there isn't really that much travel there. I had no problem going fast with this thing, so really nice from that aspect. In terms of mag changes and that kind of thing, yeah, it was fine. I found with some of the cross mags I had, inserting them on a closed bolt, you had to really ram them on there. But that's going to happen with a lot of guns out there. You try putting a completely full magazine into a gun where the bolt is closed, it doesn't really want to move, so you really got to ram it in there if you want to get something in there that's like a completely full mag. In the States, they'd just run a 30-round mag with 29 in it if they really wanted to, so that they get that reliability of being able to get that magazine in. But for me, oh, it was nice to go back to a ping pong paddle. Back to, this instead of grabbing the charging handle and ripping it back. That was really nice. The magwell is fine. I wouldn't say it's like super big. It's got a bevel to it, but it's enough for the kind of competitions that we do here in Canada. Primarily, what you get out of a rifle like this is just better reliability. You're not going to break parts and whatnot like you would on some of the other rifles that are available in Canada. It's just better for that kind of thing. So next, why don't we go ahead and disassemble this rifle? It's actually pretty easy and pretty good. Okay, we got this pin at the front here. Push that guy in, pull it out from the other side. It's captured. And then the pistol grip comes right off. There's a little block at the back there that engages with a block at the back of the receiver here. But there's your fire control group, all that kind of stuff is all just kind of in there. We also see like a metal liner kind of on the inside here. I believe is that metal or is that just plastic? That's just plastic. That could be used to change the mag wells out and that kind of thing. Or actually, to be honest, I don't really know why they have a liner on the inside like that. And now we got to pull that bolt out, right? How do we get that bolt out? Well, it has to do with this back stock part here. So we're going to fold the stock. And then we've got this little button right here. We're going to push that in. And then we're going to need to slide this whole shebang down. Okay. And I'm just sliding the whole buttstock assembly off. Now there is a little bit of pressure behind there. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And it's almost off. There it goes. And off she comes. So there's the bit that was holding on to the back. That was in that track, and there is the back of the recoil spring. It's captured. Look at that. Imagine that, a captured recoil spring this day and age. I mean, Glocks do it. Why don't rifles do it, right? There's our bolt, so we can just slide that bolt out. Hey, look, my charging handle stayed behind because it's not locked in. If I had pulled that charging handle back, now this whole thing is it's connected, right? It's locked into the bolt, so I need that forward, and then I can just pull the bolt out. the back such as this. Kind of 180-ish in how we've got, you know, a single cam pin on this thing. We've got an AR style bolt head on it, and a nice heavy chunky bolt. Now if I want to, at this point I could remove the charging handle as well. I could pull it back to this disassembly point here and pull it out. Yeah, pull it out. I didn't look up how to do that. I just did it. And this whole thing is kind of sliding on this plastic tray in here. That is plastic. That is 100% plastic. Yep. There's a little bit of metal there and some plastic. And if you wanted to, I could swap it onto the other side, but that's stupid. So I'm going to put it back on the left side where it belongs for a right-handed shooter and go ahead and latch it up at the front. Why don't we go ahead and try taking this bolt apart without looking up any manual? That would be fun, right? Just going to grab my parts bin here. I see a little cross pin there that looks like it's going to go out that way. So can I push it out? Yes, I can. Cool. Looks like I have a claw that's hanging on to the firing pin here. Come out, firing pin. There it goes. Firing pin and spring. And I bet you with the firing pin out, this cam pin will probably come out. And with that cam pin out, I can probably pull the bolt out. Easy. Now that really was the first time I've had this this bolt, actually this gun apart. I've had the lower off before. I haven't had the whole thing apart, and I gotta say, I like it. This little, like the little trigger or firing pin retention claw. I like that. That is fancy. How do we put this thing back together? So the bolt, let's see, we want the ejection to go to the right, so I'm gonna put that claw on the right. I'm going to look for the little hole there and the bolt, and I'm going to go ahead and put that cam pin in there. That pin has like kind of like a flat to tell you which way the hole is facing, so I want it to face that away. I put the firing pin in, past this claw there, which takes no effort at all. Finally, we got this pin, and we're just going to stick that in the side. Oh my god, it's so easy. All right, let's stick this back into the gun. We are gonna put the bolt forward like that. I'm just guessing at this, by the way, guys. I don't actually know how to put this thing back in there. What's it stopping on? Oh, the bolt is turning. Do I need it back to put it in there? No, it needs to be that way. I just had to lift it a little bit. Lift it, push it down. Which one do you want me to do? Oh, it's interfering with the bolt catch. I'll just push that down. So I just push that plastic bit down while I push the bolt forward. Done. Let's see. I'm going to put this. I'm guessing you got to put it in the hole in the back of the bolt there. So I'm going to just put it in there and kind of put it maybe the other way. Yep, that looks like it makes sense, right? Something like that. Next, I'm going to put this back part on here. Just something like this. Push that in, and then push that on, and that's done. Back lug in there, push the pin in. Shouldn't be that easy, right? But it is. If you want to remove the gas system out, you just press this little claw here, rotate it all the way over, and boop, out she comes. Look at that. And there we can see our different gas settings on there. And you can see that there's a little bit of carbon on here. And then just behind there, we have some of the gas components. So there's our piston right there, and there's our, I don't know, connecting rod of some kind to get it into the action. Kind of SKS-ish in how that works. Huh, interesting. But pretty straightforward. Just kind of jiggling them into place there. And then let's put on this guy here. I'm just wiggling so I can get it in there, and I was right there. Boom. Done. Gas piston back in. Super easy. So all in all, super easy to disassemble, clean out, like great controls on it, lightweight. Some of our AR alternatives here in Canada are very heavy. This is a super lightweight gun. Well, a lot of plastic on it and not so much forehand. You can get like a longer forehand if you don't like this kind of thing. Marstar has the HBI ones, and I think Red Deer Shooting Center has some that they converted off the 16-inch models, so they have a longer handguard from the factory. At some point in the future, we might get factory 18-inch barreled versions straight from CZ, and those will be cheaper. Until then, if you want to have the gamer gun for 3-gun or IPSC rifle and that kind of thing, or really any kind of competition action shooting rifle, this rifle is going to be like the gamer one to get. It's quite expensive though. Again, conversion kit versions like this are going to be around $3,700. If you don't mind shooting restricted, those ones are quite a bit less. I'll put some pricing in here. What you could expect for like an 11-inch restricted version one. All in all, excellent rifle. Great for this kind of thing. Just a little bit pricey, but definitely like top of the heap. Thanks for watching.